flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
What's going on, Hive? How's everybody doing today? It's July 24th, 2025. I got a good one lined up for you today. I got Sammy T Mafia and Phoenix Talks backstage. I hope everybody had a great Friday Eve. I certainly did. I got to watch all of the press conferences and look at some documents and just get pissed off all over again. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up Sammy T and Phoenix right away tonight.
I remember this quote from high school. It's all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. It originates from Shakespeare's As You Like It. And gosh, was he right?
No kidding. And Phoenix, I think you were backstage, but I said I have this quote on the bottom that I say, what is freedom? And then I have, the theme up here being Brian Kohberger's convicted by emotion, not evidence. And then I tried to add as much humor to keep the mood light, if you can even do that in this cluster of a case. But you got Olivia yelling, or Chrissy yelling big D's at Brian Kohberger, and Kohberger's thinking, shit, and you said I was going to go to WITSEC. Probably thinking he's going to be safe. It's just a ridiculous statement and testament to the chaos that has been unfolding in that courtroom with Judge Hippler and this Idaho 4 case. It's a joke.
I found it striking that on one hand, we have Steve Goncalves thanking law enforcement on their beautiful investigation. I think he said beautiful.
Something like that.
And then the second he gets out in front of the cameras, they're trashing it again and calling Bill Thompson a coward and saying that. And then they start bringing up all these cases in Latah County that have run the gambit and have not been prosecuted to the fullest extent of a law and taking the coward's way out and the easy way out. And I'm just thinking to myself, wait a minute, didn't we just give them all this glory when it was your time to make a public statement? That was your time. Why didn't you do that then? Why are you calling it beautiful?
My theory is that perhaps Kaylee lived.
Well, we've talked about that. So there's something that I want to say to take that further, because I don't think that that's a stretch. Because if you look at the role that the G's have played, as far as in the media, it's holding true. What is the only soundbite, the only news clip, the only headline from the victim impact statements? Do you see any other family being talked about except for the G's?
That's usually how it's gone through this entire thing.
With the tinfoil hat theory that I will say, in addition, as a segue to Phoenix's, it is strategic on the G's part, if they are playing a role, to do something so over the top to eat up the headlines and keep all of the attention of the media off the other families.
The more I'm reading these documents, there is something so wrong in how this, like, more wrong than I thought on how this was investigated. Like, this succeeded my expectations of being bad. This actually shocks me.
Yeah, I know. I felt a gut punch. I got through all the documents yesterday. I actually just didn't go through the documents. I lined it up to the court repository and what was happening at the time. And then I linked it to the actual information in each supplement. There's an attaching supplement later on. So you can see the progression as I went through them. And I'm thinking to myself, the only reason that BK was on the radar is because they did some search on Google to see who searched the murders, and they found his name, and then instantly he became the suspect. That's the only link. Maybe he was interested to find out who did it too.
Something tells me, though, that I just have this snagging feeling that Kopaka is still involved in this. Like, I have this sneaking suspicion because of the way that the Aryan Knights run, and I feel like they have something to do with this. I feel like because it's blood in, blood out. That's their oath. So what if it was an initiation, right? Dirty cops, let's face it, drugs make a lot of money in small towns. The gang unit was disbanded. They have these Aryan Knights running wild. Clearly, I mean, they couldn't even keep them in prison for help, for fuck's sakes, with the Skylar Mead and the Umpenhauer who broke out of prison. A part of me thinks that SWAT thing was they factory reset the kid's phone. It might be a profitable thing.
How wild is it that a Moscow police detective wrote that Xana was the one that suffered more than 50 stab wounds?
Yep.
What?
Well, we know she was the target from the drug connection.
50 stab wounds. Who's all doing this, by the way? 8 minutes.
So isn't it interesting where I'm going with this, with the 50 stab wounds being Xana? It's interesting because in a way, the documents are saying that she fought, but then it was always Kaylee was unrecognizable. But then they're like, well, Xana just had defense wounds on her fingers. And then you listen to the coroner saying that, if they're on her fingers, they were either probably intentionally cut off or she grabbed it and it's sliced. It's not considered a stab wound. But then you read that, it's like, okay, so she fought. Well, she's going to fight. She gets 50 stab wounds. She's the target. Why would she be the target? Boom, parents. It all lines up. They know we're going to piece it together.
And on top of it, she had lacerations on her face. Xana did. Xana had cuts on her face as well. So that's not true that she was just perfectly laying under a blanket and nobody could see any. No, she was slashed in the face too. And honestly, I think that the Xana and Ethan part is the most interesting because the more you dig into these court documents, you're realizing, and the kids who come and talk to the police, they don't have anything bad to say about Maddie and Kaylee, but every single friend or peripheral player comes in there and says Xana was involved in a shady crowd. Xana did coke. Ethan, not sure about drugs, but they hung out with different crowds. And they were the more sketchier ones. If you had to pick, it's not going to be Maddie and Kaylee. It's going to be Xana and Ethan, who are hanging out with a less desirable crowd of people, possibly like your Emma Bailey's.
Yeah.
I think the amount of stab wounds from the victims where we're finding out, why is it that this proves he was in this furious sexual tension frenzy, just stabbing in the dark while they're asleep or almost asleep or whatever? Okay. Why is it that? And why are we not seeing the amount of wounds, looking at the timeline and thinking, wait, that doesn't make sense? So in my head, I'm going, the police had to pick a narrative. If they pick that this narrative, what are we going to do? It's got to be either the Titan timeline, or if we expand it, then we're going to have to get into the Linda Lane audio and all of these cars. So we can't do that. But then if we shorten the timeline, how are we going to explain the wounds? And that's why they hid them from us up until this point. Because how are they going to explain it? Because to me, what this shows when you see the final blows is they kept them alive and then they injured them mortally. They slashed them in places that were going to keep them alive, and then they killed them.
Yeah,
so
they were
to
tortured.
me, that shows, yes. So to me, this doesn't show that he was in some frenzied stabbing mess where he doesn't care and it's just a hodgepodge of stabbing in 8 minutes and out the door and forensically, oh, I'm just a maverick. No, this shows to me this was carefully plotted out and planned, that they die at the moment they wanted them to die, that this was drawn out, and that it was more important for the police to have this concise timeline, this short timeline, because opening it up was opening them up.
Yeah, it was totally a patsy cover up. They had the drug going on. They wanted to take down that. They didn't want to jeopardize the drug takedown. They didn't want to, so they had to make this cover up, which we're uncovering.
And let me take that a step further. And I'm not sure if I'm the only one that's connecting these dots in my mind right now. So let's say they were bound and gagged. And let's say what Sammy said was correct. They were inflicting wounds that were not going to kill them. Well, if they're bound and gagged, let's say they're tied to a chair or they're on the floor, those cuts are going to, while yes, they are going to be violent and pierce your skin, tell me if you have somebody who's bound and gagged, the odds of getting blood on you go significantly down instead of just a brawl, street fight, stabbing. Or if you got to get on top of them, if they're bound and gagged and they can't move, you could stay an arm's length away.
See, and that's why that would have been wonderful reasoning, except for the police don't want to admit that because they have to stick to the timeline. So what do? They have Detective Payne in a press conference say, well, we struggled with the forensics too, we struggle with that, and the FBI told us that if you wear the right kind of clothing, you can walk away clean. And they told us that they had cases where you wear the right type of clothing. I go, name the cases, name the perp, name the situation that this happened, because just trust me, bro, the FBI told me isn't gonna fucking cut it.
And did you guys get to the Jack Showalter apartment, the maintenance guy, and the walls and the blood and all that?
As you know, Hive, I've been promoting the hell out of the Hive Mind Roundtable, Scott Payne and Ali Benevento. Very excited for that. This came into my inbox, and this is worth showing. Now, before everybody jumps down my neck for saying, why are you showing Q? QAnon's a conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. Well, don't forget, you're in the Hive. This is the stream where we do this shit. So let me just say this. Down to the day of Brian Kohberger's sentencing, a 5-year delta, target models made to fill out an extensive background report. Target models asked in detail, family. Target models generally greenlit based on loner, insecurity, depressed. Target models generally greenlit based on humble, poorer family background to prevent possible legal retaliation. The spider web connects those most trusted, those most rich, those most powerful, safe, free, highest level security, and max protection. That's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. Now, this comes also from the Hive. This is a police report. This is pretty interesting. I'm going to read this.
Yeah.
On Monday, November 11th, 2024. Okay, so November 11th, 2024. I was notified via an email from Sergeant Gunderson that a woman named Redacted had called Whitcomb with information relating to this case. More specifically, she alleged she could exonerate Kohberger. Redacted hung up with dispatch prior to them gathering further information. The call notes were as follows. Quote unquote, or quote, caller is advising that she is trying to reach the attorney for Brian Kohberger. She was a mandated reporter / victim advocate and is advising that she has information that would prove his innocence. She sent the attorney a letter on to reach someone that can confirm they are representing Kohberger, attorney Ann Taylor Law Offices. Quote, I called Redacted when I returned to duty on November 14th, 2024. I advised her of who I was and asked if she could relate the information she claimed to have. Redacted told me she sent a letter to Ann Taylor's office with the information and would not disclose what she knew to me. I advised her it was my obligation to learn of possible exculpatory evidence. She told me she had never met Kohberger or spoken to him, but she knew he was not the person who committed the murders. I attempted to explain why it was important for me to know of the information she had, but Redacted would only tell me to do a FOIA request so that you can learn my maiden name, quote unquote. She also stated if I did so, the FBI would immediately contact me. I asked her if she had contacted the FBI, to which she replied she had not, but they would know as soon as I searched her name. Redacted then said she did not want any further involvement and hung up on me. Based off of Redacted's inability or unwillingness to offer any information to be substantiated or investigated further, there is no further avenue to proceed. Reference this call. And that was by Corporal Payne.
So
November
she got
14th.
spooked. 2024.
Very obvious that she doesn't want, she's like, I'm not talking to these guys.
But I also find it interesting, just from knowing people in social media and stuff who have tried to get information to Ann Taylor. Even I did. Like, I wrote this email. I put it out on my TikTok. I don't know if it's on this channel or Nuke channel. It is odd. Like, a part of me, now that how this all turned out, was she, I mean, she is just like all the other educated people in Idaho in the legal aspect, go to the U of I, work within the same government buildings and the same, I mean, it's all the same crop of people, right? So like, how are we supposed to look at her really? Is my question. You know, like, are we supposed to really think that she was doing everything possible? I mean, she put on a good show, but it seems a little odd that she gave up in the 11th hour when actually I feel like the screws were being put to the prosecution, especially after the leak and Hippler putting in that investigation. Like, yes, you got denied avenues that you were unable to use in order to defend Brian when it came to the third party culprit, but you still had this leak investigation going on. You still, now that I'm reading these reports, Anne knows these reports. So like, you shouldn't, why would you ever plead this?
And I'm just like, there is no way that Ann Taylor was not setting up Brian Koberger for ineffective counsel since day one. There is no way that, if you think about, if you're going to cover something up, if you are going to run a parallel case to take the headlines off of it, you would do this. You would do this. You would have the drama around the death penalty, then the drama around the death penalty being taken off the table, then the drama of the sentencing with the victim impact statements. Now in 42 days, that's about what he has, I believe, maybe 41. When he files this for ineffective counsel, there's going to be more drama on it. And it's all sensationalized headlines. There's nothing actually being shown. Brian Koberger just got sentenced to life without any evidence ever being shown. And what's wild is you go back and you think, it took me until last night to finally just allow it to be in my mind that we are not watching a legitimate case with Brian Koberger. We are not. Nothing is legitimate. This has been planned out. And if you know the law, like Ann Taylor and Hurwitz and all those people, you would do this. We have to have a show trial to eat up our time. We're going to do that by having a bunch of sealed redactments so that nobody can really dig into it and figure out that this isn't what's really going on. We're going to then set Brian up for the death penalty. Then we're going to claim it effective. You can mentally walk through it now after seeing it.
Exactly. What did we say last episode? When we played that Jim Garrison video about conspiracy and recognizing patterns, right? If we want to be honest with ourselves, part of the pattern, if you're saying that the pattern is silence and secrecy, the ones who don't speak and the ones who speak. Well, Ann Taylor is one of the ones who speak. So she is a narrative driver. Yes, because she's his attorney, but where has she now been really silent? It's during this whole process. And that's just
I think she's a part of it. I think she's playing a role too. Just like Koberger is.
I think they all went to the same colleges. They all graduated or took part, and they're all a part of this bureaucracy. Ann Taylor's getting paid a salary no matter what.
This dude has sent me a video or two before. Now it's an interesting take. And thank you for sending me this.
Birdie, sitting here watching your stream again, and you get to the part where Olivia is asking why November 13th when she's talking to BK. The Aryan Knights, their number is 111. 1 for A, 11 for K. 111. So 11, November. 13 is unanimous. In the gang world, in the trafficking world, MS-13 stands for the letter M, murder. So 111, Aryan Knights, 13, murder. 11-13. The Aryan Knights plan this thing right down to the day, Bubba. Take that to the bank.
And damn, it makes sense. It makes sense, especially when you watch True Crime Design's video. Sammy, I sent you that, Phoenix. I know you've seen it. and
I've
you
seen-
look
I
at the
watched-
symbolism
Mhm.
and the sacrifices and the esoteric stuff. And the biggest shout out that I can give to her for not being hesitant to put the part about Ethan being potentially a firstborn sacrifice and how that plays into some gangs is the esoteric and the ritualization of this. It's so well done. If you have not seen that video, go watch it.
They do follow a code. Like I printed this up. The motto of the Aryan Brotherhood is blood in, blood out. This refers both to the admittance process that requires a potential member to injure or kill a member of law enforcement or a person of a different race in a rival gang, and to the stipulation that membership is lifelong and extends beyond prison walls. If they are released from prison, members are still expected to help other members, including those still incarcerated. Tasks delegated to paroled gang members included smuggling drugs, cell phones, weapons, incarcerated members, as well as drug dealing, murder, identity theft, armed robbery on the outside. Paroled members are expected to turn over a certain percentage of their profits from these crimes to the leadership, both on the inside. As with many members of prison gangs, members of the Aryan Brotherhood often have prominent, recognizable tattoos declaring their affiliations. Common symbols include a shamrock with a swastika, the letters AB, or the number 666. So I was printing this out because I was just thinking to myself, it's a code outside of anything that's logical to us, but this is their code. They live by this: blood in, blood out.
I just think it's so odd that they're like, yep, and we're adjourned. At Koberger, like the bell just rang out of class. No guards are around him. Nothing. He just slides back and he gets ready to stand up. I just think it's so weird. Like, watch this.
We're adjourned.
Just nobody even comes around him.
Oh my god!
Like, he just gets up.
I know. I feel like we should do a parody video of that and have "It's all right because I'm saved by the bell" when you wake up in the morning. And
I'm trying to find a different case that would be on YouTube where you can see the judge sentence them.
Person on that jury felt enough sympathy, mercy for you that they decided that you did not deserve the death penalty. So for that, I don't have to make that decision. It's not something that I ever wanted to do or wished to do. But if there was ever a case that I've ever heard that 12 people would have decided that death was appropriate, this is probably it. But that's their decision. I believe wholeheartedly in the judicial system, and I believe that those 12 people made up their mind, and that sentence will be imposed on you. But I also agree with the victims in this case.
The entire defense team
This was the
standing.
most selfish, self-centered, evil thing that I've ever heard. That you took the stand and you said that you did all this for your son is ridiculous. Your son was in the house when this occurred. He was either in the room or within 65, 70 feet of when you shot his mother, shot his grandfather, and then waited 5 hours, by your own admission, to walk downstairs and beat his grandmother to death. In those 5 hours, you must have sat in that house with your son. He was there. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. He's not asleep.
Oh my gosh, you could apply this to.
You're sitting there with your son, with his dead mother, his dead grandfather, and a man who gave his life for those people. You sat there with him and went downstairs and finished off his grandmother. And you did that for your own selfish reasons. Maybe it was your age. Maybe it was that you felt that they had done something to you that you needed to get revenge for. But there was no remorse. Just saying you're sorry doesn't make it so. You're not sorry for what you did yet. Maybe someday you will be. You weren't sorry that day. You weren't sorry when you took the stand, and you're not sorry now. Your son will grow up without a mother, and without grandparents, and without a father, just as you did. But worse than you, he will grow up without a father because he will know.
Do you see how crystal clear this image is? Do you see how good the audio is? Do you see how the intensity that's coming through the screen feels authentic as like an intuitive thought and gut feeling? You can tell that this woman is fully meaning every single word that comes out of her mouth.
She is not reading from a script.
Exactly.
If you look at Judge Hippler, he is reading right from whatever document, whatever script he's reading. It's already scripted.
And then he sounds like he drank a bottle of red wine and woke up with a cotton mouth.
Let's see this one.
They are observing the proceedings today. The thing that was consistent in their testimony was that they have been waiting 20 years for justice. Today, that long wait ends. In the words of Miss Pam Williams, from one Italian to another, ti condanno a morte. That translates to, I sentence you, Mr. Lorenzo, to death. That is the punishment that you
see. That hits way harder than there's big D's.
When you're Sicilian or Italian and you see somebody speak your language, especially like you respect that when you have Italian grandparents, one Italian to another, and you speak in that native language to somebody like that with that sort of force, that is a real fucking sentencing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Judge Hippler could have like really laid into him and was like, you are going to spend life in prison.
He just goes, instead he says they're going to run consecutive one after another, not at the same time, for the longest maximum possible sentence. Well, Phoenix, Sammy, thank you so much for popping up on the stream tonight. As always, it's a blast. Tomorrow, just as a reminder, I am taking Mrs. Birdie out for our anniversary dinner, so I will have a pre-recorded. Yes. So I will have a pre-recorded video that will premiere at 7 p.m. still. So
I predict 9 months from now we're gonna have a little birdie.
I hope so. The Hive has a ton of momentum. The ability for all of us to think as one. We have so many bright minds in here, and the community that we're building is great. I've certainly never been a part of anything like this just prior to this stream. Like, I've gone in, I've subscribed to people, I've been a part of like watching their videos, but I've never really felt like, there's people in here where I know the UFO dog. I don't know who it is, but I know them. You know what I mean? Like, I know people by their screams, like to the fact where like we'll talk about it, laugh about comments they put up when Mrs. Birdie and I are like watching the replays or we're at dinner. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that with you all.
Or it would be so much fun if you have a baby birdie, like we have a virtual baby shower. How fun would that be? A virtual baby shower. And we have like a drive and we like, okay, we could send to P.O. Box, blah, blah, blah. And Birdie can do an unboxing of like the craziest shit from the Hive. I would love that. Could you imagine the conspiracy onesies?
Yes.
That this little birdie will get. Oh man, I would be.
Look at him turn red.
I would be ecstatic to buy a birdie, like a conspiracy NPC one.
Maybe we'll have a birdina.
Yeah, we might. A birdino or a birdina.
I love the ones where like people do like those family accounts where they're like, I'm gonna show like this one woman. She has all these kids. She lives on a farm. She's one of those, what do they call those moms who are like they call them something. It's like this whole crowd of like I don't know, whatever.
Moms?
Yeah, they're stay-at-home moms, but they do more than that. It's like it's a rejection of like the feminist movement. So there's this like whole movement of stay-at-home moms that raise their kids. They homeschool them. They have like a bunch of kids, like 5 kids or more.
Oh.
And so they videotape their births and stuff. And the one woman had so many kids, she literally went to the bathroom and had the baby. And like they videoed, like the husband was like, oh my God, oh, you had the baby. Like it was so crazy. And I was like, I can't even imagine like giving birth, like even when they do the whole like birth in the pool thing, I'm like, no way is that helping. You need drugs. Like, I'm sorry. You need to feel nothing.
Birdie's like, no, we're not getting into this right now. There's just
Right.
no way we're going to talk about
I'm
birthing.
sure it hurts.
You know, for your
I can't even imagine.
anniversary,
You know what? But women,
promise your wife an epidural.
women have a stronger tolerance for pain, so we can handle it.
My grandpa told me this joke about how what's more painful, getting kicked in the balls or having a baby? And he says,
how would we know?
He said, well,
We
this is
wouldn't.
what my grandpa's logic was. He goes, your grandma, after she had her first kid, she goes, I think I'll have another. We should have another. And then we should have another. He goes, I've never met a man that's like, you know what? I think I'll get kicked in the balls again.
That's good.
All right, Hive. Well, I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you all for tuning in.
I love you, Phoenix.
Love you too, Sammy and Birdie.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Peace out. Love the Hive. Bye.
Yes. See ya.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.